If it's not 6:30 yet, we can start. Yeah, we'll wait.
I forgot my mask. He was not gonna be here.
Right.
Oh, Doug Aiken will give us some information on that. That's the vacant lot at Augusta and San Jose. They have some ideas for it, because they were presenting. I'm sorry? No, this is not. This is one across angle. My car. Mark's board's got their own. Yeah. He doesn't. And they also like. I don't think they go into the issue.
Oh, that's very nice. Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, they know who you are.
Yeah, fell down on me. All right, let's call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Cleveland. Present. Councilman Saxonheimer.
Here.
Councilwoman Smith. Absent. Councilman Evans.
Present.
Councilman Nelson.
Present.
Councilman Hahn.
Here.
Councilwoman Rosso. Here. Councilwoman Campbell. Here. Gail Quorum.
Thank you. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Can we say division?
I got it right here. And I've been trading off on all three since they kind of overlap, but I'm going to remind us why we're here. Our values are professionalism, integrity, and transparency. And we are to uphold our values by being an example of effective municipal government through building a professional team of city officials and staff dedicated to serving the residents in Normandy with integrity and transparency. First item on the agenda, approval of the January 10, 2023 City Council meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Second, approval of the January 26, 2023 City Council workshop minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second, please.
Second.
Is there any corrections or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you, Yolanda, for your thoroughness. Me? I'm not Yolanda, Kiana. It's away from, thank you, dear.
I do have three appointments to make. All three are to the Historic Preservation Commission. The first is Joyce McGrath, who lives on Nokomis, Laura Watt, who lives on Oakmont, and the ordinance requires that we have a council liaison and a liaison for planning and zoning. Steve Saxonheimer, who is our council person, Steve Saxonheimer, also sits on the planning and zoning commission, has agreed to serve as liaison to both those parties. So if I could have a motion to approve Joyce McGrath and Laura Watt as council, to the Historic Preservation Commission, and Steve Saxonheimer be the council and planning and zoning liaison. Is there a motion?
Motion.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Okay.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on. Citizens' comments, please. Now's your opportunity. Oh, I'm sorry. I will never get used to that new system.
No worries. Terry Gannon.
No, I said it makes it last.
Oh, okay, you already did the note, I apologize.
Well, let's make sure that's on the
It
agenda
is,
for last.
it is.
Okay.
Douglas.
Good evening.
I'm Doug Aiken, live at 7728 Augusta. And I'm here to speak on behalf of the Citizens for the Advancement of Normandy, CAN or CAN. I don't know if you, whether you know much about it, but we're a not-for-profit organization formed in 2005, I think it was. And our mission is to make Normandy a better place to live. And we participate in the Adopt a Highway program. We have South Florissant Road. We take care of that section from Bermuda down to where the post office is on the campus. You'll see our sign there. And by the way, everybody's welcome to join, even people on the council here. Because we don't work at cross purposes, we work together. We also manage the community garden, which is right there at the corner of Bermuda and South Florissant. And I'll give a little plug because about the garden. We have an opening day of March 18th. Everybody's welcome to come. There's a small fee for a plot of 50 square feet. You can buy more than one. We're offering them at $20 a piece until the 18th, and then they go back up to $25. So if you're a new gardener, that's great. We can help you get started. If you're a experienced gardener, welcome aboard. It's a nice place to be. It's got some sort of there's something peaceful about the place. I don't know, David and who else? Debbie have plots up there, and they're very active. Anyway, my real purpose though was to talk about what you have in front of you, and I'll just, I don't know, hardly anybody here. There's an empty lot over at the corner of St. Anne's Lane in Augusta. It's 3/4 of an acre, and I don't think the city has any plans for it at this point. They might. But CAN is going to submit a plan to the Parks Board next week this time, and hopefully we'll get their approval and maybe some funding. But we're proposing a native plant pocket park, and you can see it in front of you. CAN would purchase, plant, and maintain that native area, and the city would maintain the rest of it, which is basically just cutting the grass. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself because I just want to let you know that what's coming down the pike. The third ward does not have a park. We're the only ward that doesn't, so I figured we thought maybe it'd be time to have one there. Perfect location. And about 3.5 years ago, we did meet with all the neighbors, anybody else who wanted to come, to talk about what we can do with this lot. And the result is this plan here, which is not definite. It could be changed. If somebody has other ideas, that's fine. But we think this reflects what the neighbors told us at that time. Okay. Yeah.
So, I believe about a year ago, Angie from Beyond Housing, Missouri Department of Conservation, surveyed this, and it was Miss Dooley on Augusta. I forget.
Pat Dully?
Yeah, Pat. She was there also, and her feedback was, I'm just sharing this with you, is it's going to be really high maintenance with the plants that were chosen, and she had some other suggestions. I don't know where it went from there, but just for you to know, if if this is the plan, you do have enough gardeners to take care of what's been suggested. I mean,
Yes,
just
and
for you
we'd
to
be
take
open
that-
to
Yeah, and Doug is
suggestions.
gonna present this at the Parks Board meeting. He's
Yeah.
been invited to present this to the Parks Board.
And
So they'll discuss more detail about this.
Pat will probably
at that time.
bring this
I'm
up.
just sharing that,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
the input, and Pat has Angie's contact information, so.
All right,
Thank you, Doug, appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Oh, can I say something, please?
Let's, this is citizens'
Yeah,
comment.
this is-
Let's
Yeah, we
leave
should be
it,
talking.
yeah, let the citizens,
Next meeting, Rick, you can talk to us.
yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Well, you'll have an opportunity when it's time for report.
She's full.
I know, and that was,
I'm sorry,
yes.
I asked if it was
I'm
okay.
sorry, Kiana, is there
No one's
anybody
got
else on the
it,
list?
There was someone who indicated that they would like to speak on Zoom. They just have not provided their name or address, so we would just ask them to state that at the beginning of their comment.
Okay, very good. So if there's,
Well,
some-
somebody's raising their hand.
if there's someone on Zoom, you have to state your name and
Yes, yes. My name is Daisy Lomax. I live at 7252 Normandy Place. I'm calling about a safety concern. The side street Arcola, off of Normandy Place, where the wrought iron gate is, there is a opening that we've had an ongoing problem, which is somewhat linked towards one of our neighbors' home. People are taking a shortcut through there. Right now, it's a concern, but as the word passes along about the opening, we approach the summer months, it will be a major problem for us with people that don't live on the street and don't even know anyone on the street taking a shortcut. I wanted to ask about some kind of attachment or something that can go across that they can no longer do that.
thank
And that
you,
was my comment.
thank you. Yeah, we're aware of the problem. We haven't come up with a solution, but it's being addressed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
No.
All right, moving on. Report of officers, I have two items. One, which most of the public is aware of, we have a new chief of police. Tamika Sanders, Captain Sanders is now Chief Sanders. We're gonna have a more, thank you, yeah. We're gonna have a more formal ceremony at next month's meeting when her parents can be in town. And there'll be an hour before the meeting for everyone to meet with the new chief of police. Secondly, and I'm not gonna take the sails out of, the wind out of the sails of the Parks Board, so I won't make any of these announcements, but they're busy. And soon, they will be announcing a real busy summer of some really fun activities that I really appreciate our Parks Board, and that's all I've got. Anyone else have a report from their ward?
Well, yes, I do.
Go ahead.
They missed a recycle on that Ward 2.
I called them today.
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah, I got 3 calls today.
Yeah, I got the same. Okay, yeah.
Good deal. And also, we're getting ready to kick our Redbird Rookies season off. Our first meeting is this Wednesday. Not this Wednesday, but Thursday. Thursday. So registration should begin March 1st. And that's still like up in there. That's not a hard date, but I'll let everybody know. So we're getting ready to kick it off.
For Ward 3, I do have one item in regards to the Core Collective, formerly known as St. Vincent's Children's Home. They are opening up their doors once again as Mayor Beckman and other city council members, as well as our Parks Board members have been receptive of. They are giving tours on a daily basis. So if you are interested, you can stop by their front office and receive a guided tour of the grounds and of their facilities, which are in talks to be opened up for public use. Beyond that, they also are having a drive inspired by Madam C.J. Walker's advocacy, entrepreneurship, and philanthropy, and raising funds for products for the care of natural hair. 90.75% of the youth served by the Core Collective have been Black and African American youth in 2022, and as such, their hair care product does come at quite an expense. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Well, all I can say basically is I've got a lot of calls about the trash and the expense, of course, what the cost is gonna be on the next quarter. It's kind of hit us, kind of blindsided us with this $18 raise of the quarter that's gonna be coming in. So that's the major thing that I've been dealing with, trying to tell the people, I really don't know what to tell them. I'm sure Sam's probably got a lot of calls, and maybe Mayor Beckman also, but maybe we could explain or have the representative for the waste management maybe come to one of our meetings, explain why we're going up constantly on the price and the services are there. So that's basically all I got to say.
Thank you.
Somebody else? I had a few things. One was I did contact the Missouri Community Empowerment Grant representative. So for the public, this is basically a grant that's a matching grant that helps develop our downtown. And so I did ask the representative, Ben White, to see if he could come in for a workshop to talk to us on March 23rd. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I'm sure he'll get back to me soon. The other thing was I sent this to Mark and Sam. I did also contact Scott Meyer from Baker Tilly about the municipal advisory services and asked him to come on the 23rd. He seemed pretty eager. So he can come and talk to us about what services that they offer, and you can ask them all of our questions and everything. There is a project that we talked about last year, the Missouri Department of Conservation, with the planting of the flowers at the circle and the medians, and we're in the beginning stages of getting that together. So right now, we're talking about the design and establishing like who's responsible for doing what and timelines. And the deadline is to have the plants in the ground by May 31st. So you guys will start hearing us talk about the process and that going along. So the other thing is, if you haven't, and I'm gonna send a link to Kiana so she can maybe put this on the website. Also has a community card where you can sign up to get, they used to have a community card and then it stopped during the pandemic, but you can get, I don't know if people went to the wellness day that we had for Normandy, you can get discounts on the membership at the Wellness Center, you can get discounts on tickets at Two Hill also. So I have the link for that, and it's actually open to pretty much all municipalities in North County and everything, and you just have to ask them for the card and they'll send you the card.
And I can confirm I was the first person to receive a community card after the start of the pandemic, because I just got it a few weeks ago. So,
yeah, so it's starting back up, and I think the purpose of it is they're trying to make it kind of like bigger and more encompassing of like all the communities and stuff, and get input from people. The other thing is MSD has a Project Clear small grant program for stormwater runoff, and you can be awarded $4,000 or up to $7,000 depending on what area you're in to alleviate stormwater runoff. And that's also a link that I'm gonna send. Maybe we could put it on the website. So the purpose of this is like if you're in an area that doesn't have sewers, I don't have one.
I don't have.
Yeah. And then you have this excessive stormwater that's coming to your property. You can you can do native planting, you can do water fixtures, you can do catch basins, pavement alleviations, and then other activities. There is like a whole list of things and like videos that you have to do in the quiz you have to take before you apply. But the program is basically for the Clearwater project and all the flooding and stuff.
Yolanda, we applied 2 years in a row, maybe 4 years ago now, and our address wasn't a part of that.
They have a new map now. They've
They have a
extended it
new
out.
map.
Yeah, there's like 3 different colors. So they've extended it out. It used to be just like the city and like
Yes.
University City,
Yes.
and now they've extended it out. It actually goes like to Chesterfield now.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
like the De Pere area and,
And us.
yeah. So I'll send you the link so you can put that on there too.
Share that with me if you could, also, please. Thank you. All right.
That other grant.
The MDC grant?
No.
No. All right.
So, I have.
Okay, go ahead.
Received some information from Sam today in regards to the thrift shop and being sold, and that's the first time that I heard about that. And in Ward 4, we've mentioned this for months and months and months in regards to resident concern and care of the parking lot. And so with this new owner, I think it would be in our best interest, not to say I don't want to bother him or her, whoever it is, but it would be a great time then to voice our expectations on what we've been dialoguing about for months, maybe even over a year now, to get them on the right track in regards to what the city would expect them to do. So I would just appreciate that kind of interaction with the new owner in regards to the input we've gotten from residents and the dialogue we've had on council in regards to the care of that area.
Thank you. Good idea. All right. Moving on. City Administrator.
Before I start, would you mind flipping the camera around? It's currently facing the audience.
I'm looking for, there we go.
How would you?
Did it
There
switch?
you go.
Electronic?
Got it.
Oh, we liked it like that.
All right. As far as my report, it was submitted to council before the workshop and it was discussed in depth at the workshop, but I'll go over some of the key points, especially the stuff coming up quickly in terms of short-term goals that we hope to accomplish in 1 to 3 months. One is renewing our employee safety manual and focusing on better implementation and training. 2 is our fiscal year audit, which will begin on site in March. And so that will take up a good amount of time, and then hopefully in June we can deliver to the council the first fiscal year audit for the city in over 10 years. So that would be fantastic. And then also, before the summer gets started, we do want to get rid of our vacant lots as well. So if you live next to a vacant lot and you're interested in purchasing it, the plan is to reach out to property owners within the next couple of weeks, engage interest, and then for a fair but fairly low price, ask them to submit a bid, and then we'll bring that to council for approval. That way we don't have, I think last season we had upwards of 8 vacant lots that we were mowing all year long, and so hopefully we can get on the other side of that. And then as well as submitting to council for review and approval a comprehensive pay plan. So that's my report. I'm open to any questions.
Thank you. Yeah, we covered that pretty in-depth at the workshop. Does anybody have any additional questions? Thank you. All right. Chris, Public Works.
Good evening, everyone.
Please, for
Good evening.
First.
First, I would like to say thank you to everybody for all the kind words and everything. And
all of us down in Public Works truly appreciate everything. It's been tough, but, you know, we're getting through it. What we're doing now is, we lost 2 employees. One's moved on to another job. One, we had to let go because it's absenteeism. So right now, we're in the process of looking to hire at least 2 more guys before the spring comes. We have really stepped up our training and our safety protocol. So we got some new things in place to make sure everything is done safe and, yeah, but we're also doing potholes. So if you see potholes anywhere, reach out, let me know. We can get them filled temporarily with the cold patch, and then we're hoping to have our truck by the summer. We can come back and do hot mix this summer, so it'll be a more permanent fix.
Okay.
All right.
Chris, can I ask you a question? There is a pothole. Do I need to email you or can I?
Where is it
fill
at?
out? On Rosedale and Florissant.
Okay. It's on Florissant?
It's on Rosedale.
Okay. All right.
Real bad.
Okay.
I think there's I was called that someone had on their tire rim or something.
Okay, I'll look at it first thing in the morning.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, if you would just email him for a reminder so he has the right spot. Yeah.
Chris, are the streetlights on Normandy being assessed, or you replaced them and then there's some, on Natural Bridge,
It's 3 of them. We have, I think, 3 to 4 of them that are out. We just have to change the bulbs in them.
yeah.
Yeah.
We noticed that. I don't know, Tony, if you're gonna bring up about that unsafe pavement in Hosel Park.
Oh, we talked about it.
You did.
Yeah, he gave me it.
Okay, so if you're gonna be doing potholes, will Castle Parks Drive be considered?
That needs to be cut out and redone. That's an actual asphalt cutout. Them are not potholes. Us putting cold patches, something in those, it would just come back out. We would have to come in this spring with a hot mix and actually do at least a 2-inch overlay over that. So once we get our dump truck, we can go get hot mix and do an overlay over that area.
So you can do the overlay over the cold patch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, how are you doing?
Okay.
Hi, this is LaWanda. I just joined. Missed the part about the potholes. So are we just notifying you of the ones in the area that needs to be addressed?
That's fine. Email either anybody at City Hall from Sam to myself or the mayor, and I'll get to it.
Can you hear him?
Okay.
He's not at the podium. Oh, good, she heard you.
Oh, okay.
Yep, yeah, just send him an email.
Okay.
Excuse me. Mr. Ellis, City Treasurer's report.
Chief.
Oh, did I skip?
Yes.
My apologies.
Hey, Mayor?
Chief Sanders,
Good evening.
yes, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. I won't make this too long. It's my pleasure to be sitting here.
Excuse me, just for 1 minute. I don't know what the question is.
Is she more present?
I don't know. I'm sure Kiana's taking care of that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's absolutely okay. It's my pleasure to be sitting here for the first time in the official capacity as chief of police. I thank everyone for the confidence that you've instilled in me. I just want to, just on the cursory surface, we'll talk about this later, but say that you have not misplaced your faith in me, and I will not let the citizens of Normandy or the members of the city council down. I promise to uphold my oath to the city and the constituents and place the public safety mission of the citizens of Normandy at the forefront of my daily agenda. So thank you. The police department report. It spans from January 1st to February 1st, 2023. I'd like to talk about something that's really noteworthy very quickly. On January 29th, our officers began investigating a homicide in the 1700 block of South Florissant Road. Yes, this is our second homicide at that location. We would usually activate the St. Louis area major case squad for incidences like this where there are no leads. That was not an option for us in this instance. Through the hard work and professional resolve of our investigative team, and I keep talking about what a great job our detectives do, we're very fortunate to have those 2 individuals. They developed several leads that resulted in the positive identification of both of the murder suspects. They have the vehicle in their possession. They've identified the vehicle as being a stolen vehicle that was taken in an armed carjacking, and we've actually included the DEA has gotten involved in this investigation, and they have surveillance on the two individuals that are responsible for this homicide because there was a drug nexus involved. So I think our detectives just did a great job. 2 people did the working with the Major Case Squad as well as, and Major Case Squad dispatches more than 20 dedicated detectives for your city to come and work those leads, and they did it with 2. So I'm very, very proud of the investigative team we have here, and we'll be able to get that family of that young gentleman that lost his life from closure very soon here. Crime prevention section, the Normandy Police Department is moving forward with the zoning and permitting processes for the Flock safety camera system. We're also pleased to report that the city of Belle Reve Acres passed an ordinance at their meeting last month, and they are going to contract with Flock as well. They're adding 2 cameras, one to the Natural Bridge corridor at Hanley and Natural Bridge, and another one at the entrance of their subdivision. So now Normandy will have 6 Flock cameras. The City Council for Belle Ridge at their meeting just last Tuesday, they set aside some money, they were working on their budget to approve 3 additional Flock cameras. So just like that, Normandy has 7 Flock cameras going up, and it's going to be really difficult for people to commit crime here and not get caught. I'm really excited about that. I'll keep you apprised and let you know when the work starts to go forward for those to go up. Additional news, Normandy Police Department joined the first of its kind Joint Municipal Citizens Police Academy with all the other law enforcement agencies in the 24-1. The Normandy Police Department is going to start the Citizens Police Academy. You guys will start seeing some flyers and some yard signs and things going out. Initially, Chief Buchanan from the co-op was looking for a $500 contribution via donation for each police department to go out and get. One of our contract partners, Mayor Vicky Valle, has some CDGB funds, and we're in the process of trying to get $20,000 allocated from the city of Glen Echo Park for the Citizens Police Academy. We anticipate to pull in, hopefully, what we believe at the surface maybe 75 to 100 participants, and we will run Group A and Group B days. If you've never been a part of Citizens Police Academy, it's a very immersive 12-week program that brings you in and allows you to actually look at policing from the lens of the officers. You'll do building searches, you'll actually learn some constitutional law behind stopping vehicles. We're going to take you to the shoot or don't shoot simulator. It's going to be a great time. So I will be putting those flyers out from the city of Normandy, and I'm working on a letter from the Chief of Police's corner, just like Chief Buchanan put out to all of our constituents, about why it's really important for the members of our city to come out and be a part of this momentous event. And it will be all of the 24-1 police departments beginning on April 19th as our tentative start date, and we'll run once a week, weekly, for the next 12 weeks, and then we'll finally conclude with the graduation. So I'm really excited to let you guys know that not only are we a part of this joint endeavor, but we've got $20,000 in pocket. Mayor Valle also agreed that she's got some other CDGB funds she may lose, and we are reigniting the Normandy Police Department Explorer program, and she's offered to give us an additional $20,000 for our Police Explorer program. Wow. And we've done that with using the CDGB funds before. Chief Buchanan and I, we love the idea of partnership, so we actually just merged our Police Explorer programs the other day. And so now they will benefit from being a part of the first Boy Scouts of America post, because Normandy is the only Boy Scouts of America Police Explorer post in the 24-1 community. So that's really exciting news. We're excited to be a part of all these multi-jurisdictional endeavors, and I look forward to rolling out information for these things as they come up. Thank you. Oh, calls for service, I apologize. We gotta talk about the calls for service very quickly. There were 674 calls for service in Normandy proper, and a total of 1,341 calls between January 1st and February 1st across all of our contract cities. If you look at Belle Ridge, we always talk about Belle Ridge every month and their calls for service. You guys noticed they only had 320 calls. That's a 15% decrease in calls for service. Police reports generated, there were 135 police reports generated across all of our cities, 25 accident reports, and 137 summonses issued. And to all of the people that were complaining about the speeding in the main arterial roads of Normandy, on today's date, we actually threw out a overtime detail for the officers to come and do traffic safety enforcement in the Natural Bridge corridor between Lucas Crossing Elementary and St. Anne's Schools. We're going to stop it at St. Mary's Lane, and we'll also be doing it in the Bermuda Road corridor as well. So you will start to see additional and supplemental officers to the ones that are already working every day, and they'll be working on traffic enforcement, slowing people down during school hours. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How old do you have to be in the Citizens Police Academy?
Citizens Police Academy is going to be, I believe, 18 years of age with no felony arrests. and I'll get you guys a flyer in the next couple days. The co-op is actually putting out the flyer, and it's got all the police department's logos on it, so that was the part of the task that they took on. As soon as I have it, we'll start distributing it. We're gonna actually turn it into some like yard signs, and we're gonna stick them out in the community to raise awareness about the enrollment process.
I attended that about 12 or 13 years ago. It was fun.
It is fun.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, old business. Now it's Charles' turn.
We'll keep you honest.
I appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Mayor, all the persons, and again, congratulations to Chief Sanders.
Thank you.
So you all should have a copy of the monthly financial report as provided by Sickich LLC, as well as a narrative for that report provided by me today. So we'll start with the introduction to the narrative. Review will still be needed for the months of September 2022, as that report was submitted as a draft at the December 2022 meeting, as well as December 2022, which has not been received from Sickich LLP, as it would have been expected to be able to be reviewed at this meeting. Okay, so again, for those again that are not familiar, we generally have the monthly report 2 months prior to a particular meeting. So this month is in February, would have generally had the report for December in this meeting, but again, we do not have that as of yet. So I just put in my introduction as a reminder that those are the expectations that we have had as a city for some time, to at least have those reports ready for particular meetings. Okay, next, Part A, the summary of the income statement. So for the month of November 2022, the city recorded a net profit of $9,000 for revenues of $339,000 compared to expenditures of $330,000. For year to date, looking at the first 2 months of the year, those being October and November of 2022, the city recorded a net deficit of $5,000, which are revenues of $664,000 compared to expenditures, of $669,000. Okay. Next, we have the Part B section, which is the summary of the general fund balance. So for the general fund unrestricted cash balance as of November 30th, that amount was $1.333 million. The general fund board designated amount as of November 30th was $735,000. Unearned revenue from ARPA funds, $500,000. Amounts due to general fund from other funds of $264,000, and amounts due from general fund to other funds of $20,000. That resulted in a total general fund balance as of November 30th of $343,000. Okay, going back to the summary, Part C, that will be the income for general fund. Ideally, the percentage of budget remaining for income at fiscal year end should be at or below 83.3%, which would indicate that the amount of actual income was either the same or more than the budget amount of income. Unfortunately, the city fell short of the budget amount for income by $59,000, or 1.4% of the total budget amount. Next, for Part D, expenditures by department for general fund. Conversely, the percentage of budget remaining for expenditures at fiscal year end should be at or above 83.3%, which would indicate that the amount of actual expenditures was either the same or less than the budget amount of expenditures. Fortunately, the city did spend less than it had budgeted by more than $53,000, or 1.3% of the total budget amount. Also, when it came to the individual departments, all were able to keep expenses under budget, as was indicated by each percentage being above 83.3%. That concludes my narrative. Does anyone have any questions?
So a fair summary is we're spending under budget, but we're also getting revenues less than anticipated.
Yes, that is correct.
I got you.
Any questions?
Pretty mild witness.
Is there a motion to approve the November 30,
I'll make a motion.
2022
I'll make a
financial
motion.
report?
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Charles, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis.
Thanks.
Okay.
That's it, huh?
I'm sorry?
Oh, no, that's it.
Oh.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda, USDA Lab Testing Facility, Chapter 100 bonds. You may notice a little difference in the way we passed these ordinances, and that was the recommendation of our city attorney, and it's trivial, I think, but it keeps us in proper order. Is there a motion for the second reading of Bill number 23-2?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. An ordinance authorizing the city of Normandy, Missouri to issue its taxable industrial revenue bonds, Series 2023, in a principal amount not to exceed $105 million for the purpose of providing funds to pay for the costs of acquiring and constructing a facility for an industrial development project in the city, and authorizing the city to enter into certain agreements and take certain other actions in connection with the issuance of the bonds. Is there a motion to approve Bill 23-2?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any comment, questions? Is any, when reading this, is there any question about what we're doing with this? It's kind of in the weeds, and I'll pass it either to Doug is here to answer questions if there are any. We're good. We've done this before. It's more the same. I'm sorry, is this a roll call?
This is a roll call, yes.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilman Saxenheimer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Hahn?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes.
The ayes have it. Bill 23-2 is adopted as ordinance number
772.
772. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Council Bill 23-4. Is there a motion for a second reading of Bill 23-4?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. An ordinance of the City of Normandy, Missouri, updating Chapter 500 of the Normandy City Code regarding electrical code. Is there a motion to adopt 23-4?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions, concerns, comments on this?
If I may,
Yes.
the one, so there is one difference between the first reading and the second reading on this ordinance, which was mentioned in the memo attached to this ordinance. It adds to the prohibition on Federal Pacific electric circuit breakers, also any other circuit breaker that uses a stab lock design. It's a little bit more encompassing. There are instances where the same company made the same breakers, but under GE's name and Federal Electric panels, not Federal Pacific. So the stab lock design is consistent across all of those, and that's the portion of the breaker that I saw an estimate that as many as 1 in 4 are defective and fail to trip when overloaded. So,
Okay, he asked my question. That was the question I had. Thank you, sir.
Anything else? We have a motion and a second. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilman Sexton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilman Hong?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
The ayes have it. Bill 23-4 is adopted as ordinance number
774.
774. Thank you.
I have one question before we move on.
Sure, go ahead.
Now, I'm looking at this memo from St. Louis County.
Yes.
But Rick is going to be responsible for doing the electrical, right? So,
Well, let me clarify on that. This letter, so St. Louis County handles our electrical code and enforcement of our electrical code. If you pull a permit, you pull it with St. Louis County. This letter,
exactly.
when we asked St. Louis County how they deal with Federal Pacific, they sent us this letter.
From 2004.
Which 2004, but my understanding, they still stand on this because they sent it to us when we asked them about 2 months ago. And so they read the code that stab blocks are okay as long as they're installed properly. So basically what the ordinance allows us to do is, county's still gonna enforce the electrical code and electrical permits, but now when we do residential occupancy inspections, we can now write up Federal Pacific code.
Okay.
Say that last part, we can now write up.
Stab block panels, the dangerous panels.
Yeah, well, we passed it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. New business. Resolution 23-3. A resolution of the city of Normandy, Missouri approving a petition to transfer a special use permit at 7654 Natural Bridge Road to Normandy USDA LLC. We created this LLC, and again, it has to do with the issuance of these bonds, and it's in the weeds. And if you have any questions on this, I'll defer to Andy or Doug's left, but if there's any questions on what we're doing, we have issued a special use permit to U.S. federal properties, but we need them to transfer that permit to this newly created entity in order to facilitate this construction.
Right, and really, my understanding is U.S. Federal Properties has a separate company for each of their sites, so they're establishing a new company just to manage this site. And so they're just asking that the permit be transferred to that company.
Correct, that's standard practice for not only U.S. federal properties, but just developments of this sort in general. They spin off each project into its own individual LLC.
Is that just for delineation purposes, like just to distinguish, or?
Well, a special use permit gets recorded on a deed, so when they transfer the deed from their parent LLC to this new LLC, by code, we have to vote to facilitate that transfer, or else the special use permit, when they transfer the property, won't go with it.
Right, the code states that when a special use permit is issued to any individual or entity, it is non-assignable except by action of the council.
Okay, so I'm just trying to think it through. Is there, on the flip side of that, is there any severability? For instance, if there's, let's say there's some type of incident that happens on that property and it somehow renders it unusable, for instance, does that then negate the contractual obligations for either us or for USDA Properties LLC as the parent company? Because we're like the Normandy USDA LLC is the one taking on the burden and responsibility. Does that make any sense at all?
Are you asking if for whatever reason, are you asking what the effect is if for whatever reason the project falls through?
Yes.
Okay. That's a huge question.
Okay.
I mean,
Mayor.
the deeds and the agreements and the bond documentation all provide in detail, and Mark Grimm is really the person who would be able to speak to that best, but these legal documents all do provide for what would happen in several different scenarios of if the project fell through.
Okay.
As far as what that means for this special use permit, right? If the project falls through and Normandy USDA LLCs for some reason could not operate, utilize this property according to this agreement that we are all entering into, the special use permit would effectively be useless. They could not assign it to some other entity, they could not send it back to US federal properties absent, again, council action.
Okay.
I hope that
That
kind of answers.
Okay, thanks.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. If there's any other questions, is there a motion to adopt Resolution 23-3?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay,
Is there a number?
I think it remains Resolution 23-3. Yeah. Ah. All right. Item 2, Resolution 23-4. A resolution of the City of Normandy, Missouri approving the expenditure of park and stormwater 1/2 cent sales tax funds in an amount not to exceed $5,000 for the removal and maintenance of trees in city parks. We are going to get matching funds for this $5,000, and obviously we thought it was a good idea to take advantage of that.
Right, and.
Go ahead, Sam.
So we had $15,000 budgeted from general fund at the beginning of the year, and we've been working with Doug Seeley at Beyond Housing, and we're trying to make those matching funds go as far as we can. So for all the trees located in in a park specifically, Bullsville Park, we're gonna use restricted funds in the form of the Parks and Stormwater Sales Tax. As a general rule, you should always use restricted funds before you use general fund. And so this is a chance for us to use those restricted funds and basically stretch those matching dollars even farther. And just as a side note, we're also going to try and match some CDBG funds with the sidewalk project in Ward 1 to also match those with the matching funds for the tree removal. And basically, that would be 100% free because CDBG would be covering our half of the match.
So those funds in Ward 1 are already there, right?
The CDBG?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, for the
They're part of the sidewalk project. But I just brought that up as an aside. For this, this is gonna help us stretch those dollars as far as we can, and will let us, we'll have more general fund dollars to match as well because of this.
So how are our bids on the tree removals?
So, because we're breaking them out and the separate project, none of the 3 separate projects, the CDBG, the parks, and then just the general city are gonna be over 20,000. We've got at least 1 bid and we're waiting for 2 other contractors to bid, and Beyond Housing is helping us solicit those bids, so.
Okay.
They know if the contractor's good or not, and if their bid is good or not, and so we're relying on their expertise there.
So are you saying that there's gonna be extra monies from the sidewalk CDBG fund to be able to transfer to the tree care?
We're going to mark the removal of trees as part of the project, because we have several dead trees alongside the sidewalks we're replacing.
I remember now the conversation, yeah.
Yeah, so rather than replace the sidewalk and come back later and tear
Right
it.
away.
Good thing, yeah.
Right away, right? Is there in the right of way?
Yes.
Gotcha.
All right. Anybody else? Is there a motion to adopt resolution number 23-4?
So moved.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, Council Bill 23-5. And this is a first reading. An ordinance of the City of Normandy, Missouri maintaining the tax rate on its tax on the gross receipts of gas and other public utility corporations conducting business within the city. Is there a motion to approve the first reading of Bill number 23-5? You're not approving the bill, you're just approving, acknowledging that we've had a first reading.
Okay, so this is just first reading.
Right.
I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve the first reading. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there any question on 23-5? I should have interrupted that vote for questions about what this is. Was Sam's explanation satisfactory?
I understood.
Yeah,
It maintain, go ahead.
no, it's understandable. It's just concerning that we're, that everyone, all across the board is, letting it happen to us, unfortunately. Like, I don't know how else a municipal government can protest, their rate increase to start off as it is, like.
Yeah, and that's really beyond the control of the municipal.
Sure, yeah.
We just have to respond with what are we gonna do
In
with our
kind,
tax rate?
sure.
Which we're gonna maintain the same rate.
Sure.
So, and if I may.
Go ahead.
So, the statute that, that we're operating under right now, 393-275, again, it requires that either the city either reduce its gross utility tax rate in response to this tariff increase within 60 days of the tariff increase, or adopt the ordinance that we are considering to maintain its tax rate. Now, the statute doesn't specifically give a deadline for adopting that tax rate, but because it does give a specific deadline for rolling back the tax rate, I read that as implying that the ordinance maintaining the tax rate also has to be passed in that 60-day deadline. Our next meeting will be past that 60-day deadline, so we do need to pass this tonight.
Oh, that's.
I was unaware of that.
Yes.
That
Well,
being the case.
January 18th was the effective date of the tariff, so that means, I believe, it'll actually not quite be March 18th, because February, March 9th, is that 60 days? Okay, March 19th. So we might actually be able to, when is our March
It would be
meeting?
close.
March 14th. It would be close, so we could.
Can we change the upcoming workshop to a special meeting to be able to vote? I don't.
Well, what we can do is if we have a second reading tonight, it's gonna take unanimous approval of everybody present. So if somebody would care to make that, and if somebody objects having a second meeting in tonight's meeting, they can vote no and it won't happen. So if it's the council's pleasure, we can have a second reading on this tonight with a motion and a unanimous vote to do so.
What I'm hearing Andy say is we really don't have a whole lot of choice. There's two options here.
We'd be cutting it very, very close
Yeah.
to consider this at the March.
Well, but they're saying either reduce
Lower it
or adopt this. So we don't want to lower it.
Well, that's a policy question for the council to decide, but of course, reducing the gross utility tax rate would mean that the city's gross utility tax revenue on gas receipts only would remain as it is, whereas maintaining the tax rate would actually yield an increased tax revenue for the city. Because the city would be maintaining its current tax rate on an increased tariff, thus yielding a higher tax revenue.
Well, and I will say with that said, generally, I don't like having second readings at the same meeting prior to getting any feedback from the public, especially on something that's gonna affect their taxes.
And I will also say that, again, the effective date of this and the date that I received the notice was after the January meeting. So I mean, this is just one of those things, unfortunately, that it just comes together very quickly, and we have to respond to it very quickly. So.
Yep, so we've heard everybody's position. If there's no motion, it dies on the floor. If there's a motion, we'll take a vote for a second reading.
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion for a second reading of bill number 23-5. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilman Saxonheimer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilman Hong?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes.
The ayes have it. Second reading, an ordinance of the city of Normandy, Missouri, maintaining the tax rate of its tax on the gross receipts of gas and other public utility corporations conducting business within the city. Is there a motion to adopt Bill 23-5? Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilman Saxonheimer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Hong?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Councilwoman Rosso?
Yes.
Councilman Campbell?
Yes.
The ayes have it. Bill number 23-5 is adopted as ordinance number
775.
775. Thank you.
Excuse me.
All right.
We just did that.
Council Bill 23-6. Is there an ordinance of the City of Normandy, Missouri, updating Chapter 320 of the Normandy City Code regarding special enforcement areas in school zones? Is there a motion to adopt to accept the first reading of Bill number 23-6?
Motion.
There's a motion?
Motion.
And second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We've had this conversation before. Everybody's aware of this school zone and doubling the fines in the school zone area. Okay. Thank you. We have another opportunity now for citizens' comments.
Okay, Anna?
So I have a question about the financial report. I've asked before, you know, if you're gonna have the agenda out there, can the citizens have a copy of the financial report? I know you all get it, but especially when, I mean, we're so far behind in, I don't know, having these things, I don't even know what you call it. Well, I guess that's my question. So why are we so far behind? Why aren't we getting these reports done? And if we're gonna have an audit, shouldn't they be done? That's a question and a comment. No answer, okay.
No, we've got enough done to do the fiscal year audit.
Okay.
We're getting behind on this fiscal year.
Well, did we close out last year? Did we close out?
No.
We got a draft for the September 2022 month, but we have not had it approved by the board.
Right.
As far as a
Got it.
final September 2022 monthly report.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So we're like, what, 2 months behind?
Technically, yes, it'd be September and December at this point.
Right. Well, and I would like to, you know, for transparency and full disclosure, I think the citizens should have a copy, have access to that financial report, you know, because he's reading off those numbers, it's a little hard to do the math in your head and figure out, you know, what you're all talking about. It's just so much easier if it's in writing. Yolanda, I have a question. So when you were giving your report, was that about Main Street?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jeff City.
Okay, because they didn't hear the word Main Street, so.
Ben White, yeah.
Okay, all right. And then I just have one other thing. When you're talking about ordinances and stuff, there's going to be a meeting of Safer, Simpler that's, the realtors have been pushing the county to make their codes safer and simpler for people to understand and for municipalities to take advantage of it. So there's going to be a meeting at the real estate board Thursday morning, 8:30 in the morning. It's open to the public, so anybody who wants to come can. And if you have any opinions about how the county's doing their inspections, this would be your great opportunity to voice your opinion.
Thank you. Here, you can have this.
Oh, good, thanks.
Would we encourage or give release time to Rick to go to this?
To the,
Yeah, it's about coal.
Well, it's not established code, it's an attempt to
update.
Streamline
Yeah,
code.
to streamline and
And be
make everybody's code the
consistent.
same.
Right,
what it is. So,
consistency and ease of access for applying
Thank
for
you.
permits and things like that.
Anyone else?
To piggyback off of Ms. Gannon's comment that, I don't know, Kiana or Sam, is it feasible to have the financial memos at the very least, maybe, if not presented individual copies, could we have it on the Zoom, like shared as a document on the Zoom, or is that not?
So I think the goal is to get the council packets posted on the website before the meeting, or if it doesn't make it before the meeting, then we'll post it after the fact. That way there's documentation of what happened at every meeting. And in every council packet should be a financial report, unless it's delayed. This council packet, when it went out, did have the report from Stickage, but it did not have the report from Mr. Ellis, which there's a turnaround time and there's a little bit of
Are
a
you
lost email.
asking for the residents here to be able to see it on the monitor?
Yeah, and just so we could follow along,
If
just
there's
like
not a copy?
having, you know, a hard copy or having a digital copy even presented. If it's feasible,
Yeah.
like, again, I
We might be
understand
able to work
it's work
something like that out.
to do.
Is there anyone else for citizens' comments?
I have a question. What about the court document?
That's just for your information.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything that needs addressing unless you have.
Yeah, we're just gonna start including that in the council packet, because courts is one of our departments. That tells you how many cases they processed in the month of January, so.
All right, that concludes our business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yeah. I'll
I
make
mean,
a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Wait,
Motion to adjourn, there's a,
at the end of the workshop, we had a lot of unfinished business and such. Are we gonna carry that over to the workshop in February then? And not have a closed
yeah,
session?
let's go ahead and, Sam, do you have that workshop on your calendar? What date is that?
It's next Thursday.
Thursday, what's the date on
The
that?
23rd.
23rd.
Okay, 23rd, we've got a workshop in this council chamber at 5:30. And yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Okay, now I'm confused.
All right.
So there's a motion and a second to adjourn.
I'll make.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, meeting adjourned.
Wait a minute, this is Pinelli, this does not count.
Yeah, on the board.
We'll see you, Phil.
Floating around on the desk for another reason.
Thanks for the support.
Oh, you're welcome. We're all sitting together. Okay.
I'll put a big star up.